Did you know that the word hungry has over 20 synonyms? That means the English language has more ways to describe your stomach than the average toddler has excuses to avoid bedtime. And trust me, I know. I've got four, not toddlers, but two toddlers. So I know you're going to wonder how I can stretch this one out, but tying this bow tie actually reminds me of hunger. No, not because I want to eat it, but because both bow ties and hunger come in levels, if you will. Sometimes the knot is easy and loose, kind of like being just a little hungry. Other times it fights back and refuses to cooperate, which is exactly how I feel when I'm so hungry I could eat this microphone. So here's the thing. If you only ever say, I'm hungry, you're missing the flavor and the nuance and the fun of English. So a simple upgrade can make you sound more natural, more expressive, and honest, and basically more human. So try some of these easy everyday phrases instead of saying I'm hungry. You could say, I could eat. It's very neutral and natural. Or how about, oh, I'm starving. Or maybe you're just craving something specific like spicy food or ice cream. These work perfectly in real conversations and in short standalone clips like this. And stick around because today we're going to break down exactly what to say depending on how hungry you actually feel. And of course, don't forget to drop your questions in the chat and hit that like button and subscribe while I try not to think about pizza. And don't forget, stick around for the Mastery Minute because it's a good one and it ties it all together, just like this bow tie. Well, let me tell you about Jisoo. Jisoo is a sweet woman, a brilliant designer. But every day around 3 p.m., she would walk past her coworkers and say, I'm hungry. And every day they would nod politely and then go back to work. No connection there, right? No conversation. Well, one day she walks in and says, Ugh, I'm starving. Suddenly, everyone turns around. Oh, are you okay? Did you have a long day? Do you want to grab something? Same here. Let's go eat. Later, she told me, she said, Dennis, I just changed one word and suddenly I had friends. And that's the magic of vocabulary. You're not just describing your stomach, you're describing your mood, and that makes people respond differently. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to unlock the real world native phrases that actual people use without even thinking about it. So, we're going to make your English sound colorful, natural, and more confident. Sound good? All right, let's plate up some delicious English. This comes straight from the blog, so if you want the full breakdown, check out the link in the comments or in the description. But right now, let's serve the most practical, real-life alternatives to hungry. And trust me, these phrases will upgrade your English faster than adding cheese upgrades any meal, right? Here we go. The first one is, what do you say when you're just a little hungry? Well, peckish is the word. Peckish means that you want a small snack, not a full meal. It's very popular in British English, although that is bouncing across into American English lately these days too. It sounds very casual and very friendly. You know, for example, you might say, oh, it's only 11 a.m., but suddenly I'm feeling a bit peckish. Have you heard it before? So why does this even matter? Well, because it gives people a clear idea of what you want. And what you want is snacks, not steak. You know, when I think of peckish, it reminds me of those moments when you're not really hungry, you're just kind of thinking about food, Like you're walking past a bakery or you smell something amazing and suddenly you're ready to negotiate for a cookie. And speaking of hunger levels, that snack feeling can quickly turn into something much more dramatic, which brings us to the next stage. Those times when your stomach says, buddy, we need to eat now. Okay? Here we go. And this one, we get a little bit dramatic with it. The first one is starving. Starving. Drama level on this one is medium. Not high level drama like Jisoo. She came in and said, I'm starving. What it means is you're not actually dying, but you feel like you haven't eaten in a very long time. So you could just say, oh gosh, let's eat soon because I'm starving. Simple, right? Now, if you want to get into the real dramatic stuff, go with famished. There's high level drama there. Oh, I'm famished. Famished sounds intense. It sounds serious, like you just climbed a tall mountain. Like, oh, after that marathon meeting or that meeting marathon, I am absolutely famished. See how dramatic that sounds? So here's how I think about these two. Starving is that moment when you're on your way home and suddenly every restaurant sign looks like a message from heaven. You're hungry, sure, but you're still functioning. But famished, that's a different story. That's when you get home, you drop your keys, you collapse onto the sofa, and you start questioning all your life decisions. You're not just ready to eat, you're ready to devour the whole universe. And the funny thing here is hunger isn't always about quantity. Sometimes it's about desire, which brings us those moments when your stomach isn't empty, but you want something very, very specific. And that's when we're talking about craving. Craving means your stomach has made a decision without you thinking about it. So you might be thinking, oh, I'm craving something sweet. Or you might even say, I really could go for some fried chicken right now. Just talking about it makes me hungry. And remember, this is how actual native speakers talk when choosing food with their friends. So remember this stuff. And the funny thing about cravings is they show up completely uninvited. You can be perfectly full, minding your own business, and suddenly your brain goes, ice cream. Now. That's not hunger. That's emotional sabotage. Those cravings are sneaky and they're powerful and they're usually very specific. And once they take over, it's no longer you that's deciding what to eat. Your stomach is. And that's where you have to put in some willpower. You know, it's funny. Talking about cravings reminds me of my wife. When she was pregnant with our 4 kids, each one had different desires and cravings that she wanted. But with our first daughter, this one stands out because she never really liked very spicy food, which is odd for a Korean. But suddenly, out of nowhere, she was craving some of the spiciest dishes that you can imagine. And I'm talking fire level, tear producing, like why is this sauce glowing kind of spicy? And it wasn't just once in a while, it was every day, all the time. Like her taste buds went on a sabbatical and came back with an entirely new personality. And for me, my stomach was not happy with those cravings. Those are the kind of cravings, they don't care if you're hungry or not, they just take over. And when you're in this state, you need softer, more polite phrases, especially when you're at work, which brings us to the next group. How to talk about eating in a professional way, right? So when you're in the office, you want something that sounds calm and neutral and polite. So for example, hey, I could use something to eat. You want to take a break? Or I could eat. Want to grab lunch? I could use something to eat. These are perfect for the office, for business situations where you don't want to be overly dramatic. So the thing I love about these phrases is they're hunger without the drama. So you're not starving, you're not craving fried chicken at midnight. You're just ready, and you're letting everybody else know. Reminds me of the days in the office when everyone's been typing furiously for hours, pretending not to notice that what time it is, and someone finally says, "Whew, I could eat." And suddenly the whole room wakes up like, yes, that's a good idea. Food. Yeah. It's polite and professional, and it actually opens the door for you to make connections with your coworkers. And speaking of gentle, sometimes you're not hungry at all, but your brain still wants a snack. Ever been there? That brings us to the final category. What to say when you're not hungry, but you want a snack anyway? Oh, this one's easy. You just be honest. I feel like eating something. And this one is great for when you want a snack for emotional reasons, which is honestly, for most of us, after 8 p.m. For example, you might say, I'm not really hungry, but I feel like eating something salty, or I feel like eating something spicy or something. Have you ever had one of those nights? You've had dinner, you're full, but your brain files a complaint anyway. So what do? You open the fridge, you stare into it like it holds the secrets of the universe, and you think, yeah, I could eat something. Well, that's not hunger. That is boredom or stress or looking for some comfort, or maybe you're just curious, or maybe all four at once. Okay? It's an honest phrase, and it's perfect because it lets people you're not looking for a meal, you're looking for a moment, a little something, a flavor, a vibe. That's why I keep that little stash of ice cream in the fridge. You never know. In the freezer, not in the fridge. It's the perfect way for us to close out our list here because it shows just how flexible and expressive English can be. Hunger isn't just a physical thing. It's emotional, it's social, and sometimes it's just a Tuesday night problem, right? So, now that you've got the full menu from peckish to famished to I just feel like eating something, let's pull it all together. And I want to give you a practical reminder here. The main idea is English is not just to help you communicate. It's here to help you connect. And having the right words and choosing the right words tells people how you feel, not just what your stomach is doing. Because that's what communication is. You want to communicate your feelings. Remember, none of these phrases is actually better than the word hungry, but they're more specific. They're more exact about how you feel. And remember, the more specific you are in English, the more natural and fluent that you sound. So you don't have to just say, I'm hungry all the time. Aren't you glad? So here's your challenge. Before your next meal, tell someone exactly how you feel. How hungry are you? Use one of the phrases that we learned today. Are you feeling peckish, or are you starving, or are you craving something spicy or something crispy or whatever? Try one of these. You'll be amazed at how much more natural your English feels. All right? And remember, check out the full blog. The link is in the description. It's also in the chat here. And if you want to move your English up a level in just 10 minutes a day, check out my course, Mastering English for Busy Professionals. It's just for you. And don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. And remember, now's the perfect time to drop your questions in the chat. Because why? Because now it's time for the Mastery Minute. And I think you're going to love this one. Okay, here's a fun one. Question. Did you know cucumbers can actually stay up to 20 degrees cooler inside than the air around them? And it's no wonder this idiom exists with that little fact. It's true. 20 degrees cooler. And it's because that cucumbers stay physically cool that they became a symbol of calmness, even under pressure. So calling someone a cucumber is basically calling them the Zen master of self-control, because that's what it means. It means calm, relaxed, and unbothered, even in stressful situations. For example, you might say, everyone was stressed during the deadline, but Jessica, she stayed as cool as a cucumber. Pretty good, right? So this idiom is cool. It gives you a fun, natural way to describe calm confidence. And it's perfect for today's topic because even when you're starving or craving pizza at midnight, staying cool as a cucumber means making good choices and using the right vocabulary. All right, that's all the time we have for today. That is a wrap. Today's episode 95. And tonight we learned some natural alternatives to hungry so your English can sound more expressive and less repetitive. On Wednesday, come back because we're going to unlock some surprisingly simple pronunciation hacks that can make your English sound clearer and more confident instantly without having to memorize anything complicated. So remember, keep your bow tie straight and stay curious, because I'm Dennis Wilborn, and this has been 15 Minute Mastery. I'll see you next time.